Is the way you're building your business right now actually aligned with you? Hello, and welcome back to the Aligned Founder Podcast. I am your host, Taylor. Here, I guide founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders toward growing a business that's aligned with who they are and rooted in real connection with the right people. So go ahead and get a little cozy, maybe grab a drink, light a candle, and get settled in because we're about to go deeper. Welcome, everybody. I am so excited you are here. I've got my coffee, I've got my candle going, and I am bringing all the good vibes in with me. And I hope you are too, because I have just been so excited about the launch of my podcast. I can't even describe it. I've got about 6 episodes already planned and ready to record. And when I was rehearsing, I guess you could say, or voice noting what I wanted it to include, just brain dumping it into my notes app, you know how it works. But for each episode this last week, it truly brought me to tears every single episode. And it's not because they're sad or heavy in any way, but because this just feels so huge for me. This is 100% the direction I needed to go and where I should be taking my business. And I guess not even just my business, but for myself. I need to heal my throat chakra. If you know, you know. And what a better way to do it than through a podcast. But without further ado, let's get into today's episode where we will dive into why having to become a content creator as a business owner, thought leader, solopreneur, what have you, feels so damn weird and uncomfortable. And no, it's not just something you need to get used to. It goes a little bit deeper than that. So if you're here, you have probably felt or you are feeling now that you are being consistent and doing what you feel like you are supposed to do, whatever that means, right? And I'm sure you've had that aggravating voice at some point asking, is this even working? Is anyone even seeing this? Why does this feel so hard when it should be so simple? Many people make it look so freaking easy. Well, today I am here to tell you that little voice is there for a good reason. Because a lot of people are trying to build their business like they're a content creator. Because, how else are we supposed to advertise ourselves without doing that, right? Nowadays, if you have an online business, you have to become a content creator. And I'm going to tell you that is why everything feels off. And you know why it feels off? Because content creators and business creators are two totally different things. And a lot of times we don't really think about it, but we don't separate the two when it comes to building out our strategies and who we choose to take advice from on the internet because everyone wants to give their opinion. So all the advice is out there, but we just blend the two and don't always think about how different content creators are from business creators. And because a lot of us get online and start taking in all that advice from people who are teaching content from a creator perspective, and now that advice can be great. I'm not saying that it's not, but it's not always great for somebody who actually has a business to run. And that's a really important distinction and what we are going to get into further in this episode because what a creator usually needs for their quote business. Now, it 100% is a business, and I want to be clear that it's not like I think that they don't work as hard. It's just a different form of a business with different, KPIs, so to speak, right? So, what content creators need for their business is attention. They need reach, they need views, they need people to keep watching because that's how they're paid. That's what they're paid to do. They're paid based on engagement. Now, on the other hand, a business owner, we need to build trust. We need to build clarity. We need the right people to understand what we do and why it matters to them. And those are completely different goals from a creator's business. So think about it. If you keep trying to apply a creator's advice to a business owner's problem when it comes to content creation, it's going to feel weird. Of course, it feels confusing. Of course, it feels like you are, doing a lot and not really getting much back. That feeling, that yucky feeling you get in the pit of your stomach, kind of, making content, clicking publish. That icky feeling doesn't mean that you're bad at showing up online for your business. Doesn't mean, you might be awkward. I don't know. I'm sometimes awkward, but we can learn how to figure that out in time. It doesn't mean that's the only reason that feeling is there. To me, that icky feeling in your gut that's screaming at you, it means that the model in which you are creating content from is not aligned with your goals or the reason you need to show up online in the first place. And that is true for me. When I started my socials about 3 months ago ish, I think it was in April, I got stuck in this little internal battle, I think I can call it, of, how personal do I get? How casual is too casual? How do I show up as a real person without losing this business credibility that I am trying to build? And something you should know about me is I never make personal content, really. I do my IG stories on my personal account. That's about as far as I've gone in probably the last 4 years with social media content. Maybe I'll do an Instagram post every few months, but I am primarily a consumer of content, not a creator by any means. So suddenly, right, this internal battle that I'm talking about has me sitting here planning my content like, okay, what? I'm supposed to just perform on camera with confidence? Okay, yeah, cool. Let me just whip that skill right out of my ass real quick. And on top of all that, I have ADHD, which means the camera will go on and everything I plan to say disappears. My brain moves a lot faster sometimes than my mouth. I stumble over my words, which you might be able to identify with yourself or even pick up on it during my episodes. But I was writing these scripts for these short form videos for TikTok and stuff. And trying not to look like I was reading a script, and my content kept getting too long, which is why I had to do the script in the first place because I will just ramble. And I ramble because I'm a detailed person. I like examples. I like going in deeper. I like depth to my conversations and the points that I'm trying to make. I like explaining things. I am long winded. I take the long way around when I tell a damn story, right? TikTok, however, does not reward that at all. So here I am already fighting the algorithm really before I get started. And here's the little thing that actually put me over the edge with short form content platforms like TikTok and Instagram. But I have a really strong opinion about organic growth. Like genuinely, I believe everything should be as organic as possible. And that's not just a preference for me. It's something that I want to teach, and I think a lot of people could agree with me on that. And well, to my surprise, like many of you probably knew before I did, I found out I couldn't post my website link until I hit 1,000 followers on TikTok. So I did what I told myself I would never do. I jumped on the follow trains, I reluctantly admit. Um, I did that whole thing. I just wanted to do it so I could hit a number, so I could post this stupid link, and not knocking anybody who does the follow trains. I understand it in practice, right? But for me as a business platform or a business page, I wanted my analytics to be organic, right? And how am I supposed to do that when I'm just doing real quick follow for follow? People aren't following me for what content I create. They're doing it because they want something out of it too. But I kid you not, immediately after I started the follow trains, my views tanked. And that to me was a sign from the universe if I've ever freaking seen one. Now, look, I don't know for certain really if those two things were connected. A lot of people right now are having algorithm issues and did when it started. That's kind of when it started for everybody else too in the beginning of July. So it could have been a coincidence. But regardless, there I was spending hours on these 60-second videos fighting an algorithm that, didn't want what I was offering, so to speak. I was going against my own values just to hit a follow count for a stupid link, feeling a little bit of dread every single time I opened up the app, a little bit more every single day. And I did that for about 2 or 3 months. It's almost the end of July right now. And, after a while, if you have found yourself down a similar path like this, we begin to tell ourselves that discomfort is just part of getting started. And yeah, sometimes it is, but sometimes, let's just be honest, it's not. It's really not about just being comfortable and getting used to it over time. Sometimes the discomfort is your gut trying to tell you that this does not fit. It's saying, "What the hell are you doing? Please stop that. This isn't the right format for the way that you think. The audience you actually want isn't going to be here. You're performing a version of yourself that doesn't match the actual work that you are doing." And to top it all off, the algorithm punishes you for it. We're just business owners over here trying to make a buck, and we have to now add a new job description on top of it and become a content creator. And sometimes we just don't realize what everybody else is doing is not going to work for us because, yeah, our audience might not be on TikTok, and that's okay. They don't have to be on TikTok. You don't have to use TikTok or Instagram or start a podcast if that's not where your people are going to be. So, what often happens is we override that signal our body is giving us, that little warning sign saying, "Hey, knock, knock. We don't like this." It's a, "Hey, Chrissy, wake up" vibe, right? Because we think persistence and consistency is always the answer because that's what we are told by people who have a business model completely different than ours. People who have seen success on these platforms who have a different business model than we do. So, yes, a lot of us pick a platform because that's what the creators we are seeing are doing. And we feel like we have to become one of them too if we want to grow our business. Because in hindsight, growing our business means growing our Instagram, our social media accounts. So, why not follow the people who know how to do that? So we jump in. We start copying what we are seeing because we are seeing creators and just think success. We just got to do everything that they say because they know the algorithm better than we do. They know the platforms better than we do, obviously, because look at how many followers and views that they have. So we end up taking advice from them when they aren't even dealing with the same thing that we are. It's like an apples to oranges, situation. We are both fruits from different trees. And I'd say the same thing to creators. I don't think it's wise to take every advice from a business account because their advice will not always be aligned with a content creator's goals either. And yeah, they blend to some capacity, but we really need to take any advice that we get and dissect it for ourselves and not just run with it all willy nilly, trying to get ahead of a trend or quickly get a little virality because that's what we are assuming success looks like. So, to put it in a quick comparison visual for you here, this is one thing that I kind of looked up because I just wanted to figure out the name to this. What's the word right now? This is the mom brain coming through with a little bit of the ADHD, but um, putting a name to what the analytics isn't the right word, but you'll see. Okay, getting into it. Creator content is going to be built on relatability. It's going to be quick, fast conversions, right? You'll see like the 3-second video clips, the really quick in your face intros, things that are easy to continuously repeat. Business content, on the other hand, has a completely different job. It has to build trust. We have to clarify what we do, and we have to help somebody move closer to working with us and have to nurture the entire buyer journey. Creators don't necessarily have that long of a buyer journey to need to consider. So, for us business owners, we are forced to be creators. When you are looking at any advice, do so through the lens of, is this actually doing something for the person I am trying to reach? Because every person we reach, we want to convert to some capacity. Yes, we're not going to sit here and just be sales, 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 book with me, book with me, book with me. We need to be relatable too and just casual and build trust. But our conversion looks so much different than just getting view counts, likes, and follows. And that is a huge difference when you look at it in the lens of the advice you've been taking. Because if our people, our person, our audience, dream clients, whoever they are, they find us, they usually are looking for someone already like us to solve a problem that they have, and they are maybe considering hire somebody soon for that problem. So when you look at it that way, your viral video could be seen by 300,000 people, and not one of them may even be a potential client. So what does that virality get you? Realistically, probably just 15 minutes of fame. And I'm not saying that it's not worth it, But when you compare it to a video that maybe gets 500 views, half of them might be your target people, your specific people who have a problem that you can solve and they can hire you to fix it. And I think you can do the math and see that those 500 views will probably lead you to, more clients over that viral video will. And I know some business owners do have a viral moment and then their business is booming. But let's be honest, that is rare. Not everyone is going to do that. And if that happens to you, girl, bless it. Good for freaking you, right? But it's not realistic for everybody. And that's just that's just the name of the game. So now is the time that I want to start going a little bit deeper with you. And I hope you still have a little bit of drink left in that cup because I want you to be honest with yourself. Are you showing up on your current platform because it's actually working for you or because you feel like you are supposed to be there? When you sit down to create content, does it feel natural? Does it feel like a performance you're putting on for an audience that you're not sure is even watching? And what does your capacity actually look like right now? Because we can't all be super women. We have a lot of things on our plates. We've got kids, we got multiple businesses, we got a partner at home that we want to tend and care for, maybe pets. If you're a solo gal and you got some pets out there, they're just as important. There's just as much as your family too. But like, what is your actual time? What is your actual budget? What is your actual energy at the end of the day to put into these platforms to show up for yourself? Because that is what matters. Those are the things that matter and they make a difference. They're not excuses, like I said before, of like just pushing through the discomfort, right? They're not excuses that you need to push through, like some people will tell you to, which a lot of times we hear that from content creators. It's a different business model, it's a different approach. These are real things that can make a difference for you and your mental health. And it determines truly how long that you can keep this up for before you feel like a failure and ultimately stop chasing your dreams. Because how many of us have to force ourselves to do something for our business? Not everything is going to be glorious for businesses, right? There's going to be shit that we're going to have to do that we don't like. But when we have to try to show up for ourselves every day online, I don't think there's anything that can cause more burnout faster, if I'm going to be completely honest. And then what? You're going to just fall out of love with your business that you had so much passion for. You stop having passion for it because of freaking social media. That's absurd to me. But it happens every day. I can post what I want when I want because that's going to be the capacity that I have available for myself and what feels right for me. So if nobody told you where you're supposed to be showing up, where would you actually want to show up? What platforms? What format of, you know, of content feels good for you? Do you like to be behind the camera? Do you want to be behind a microphone? Do you want to just create graphics? What feels fun to you? What pace feels sustainable for you? How many times a week to post feels manageable for you? What kind of content do you actually enjoy making? What content will your audience want to see that will encourage them through your entire buyer's journey? Because the platform that is going to last for you and give you the best results at the end of the day is going to be the one that you can continue to show up for consistently without burning yourself out after a month of trying to chase a stupid little algorithm that you'll never understand. You are working your ass off to create content that just doesn't feel right to you because someone with 200,000 followers told you that's how they did it. You can always add more later. You don't have to be everywhere at once because the people who look like they're everywhere all at once and they have it perfect, newsflash, besties, they didn't build it all at once either, probably. They just started way before you did, and you never got to see how they began. And that, my friends, is what we're going to keep doing together here every single week. Asking the harder questions, following the answers that come up for us, and building something that actually reflects who we are as people and what feels more aligned with ourselves, our passions, our business. So that is a wrap on today's episode of the Aligned Founder podcast. But before you go, I do want to shamelessly plug my free message alignment guide, where I share the entire 30-step method that I use for myself and my family's business and other entrepreneurs and thought leaders to do this exact thing. The guide doesn't tell you, new strategies to add on. I don't like to add new strategies to your plate. We've got enough. I don't sit there and try to tell you what new hooks or editing styles to add. I just ask you questions, and your answers are going to help you develop the message that you already built and worked so damn hard on and turn it into something even stronger. I hope. That is the goal. That's all I want for you, and something that is more aligned with your business and making stronger connections with your audience or your clients. I do have an interactive Notion workbook for the alignment method coming up very, very, very soon. I just need to figure out how to share it without it ruining the main template. I'm new to Notion, and then I need to record some of the videos that I'm going to add into it. So I'm hoping I can get that done in about a week, but that is coming soon. So keep an eye out for that. Um, I will obviously announce when that is going live on my socials. You can follow me at Aligned Founder Co. and Threads, TikTok, Instagram. But now I want to hear from you. Please drop a comment. Tell me how you answered those questions today. What kind of came up for you as I was walking you through the differences? What have you been sitting with in your own business that has been driving you absolutely bonkers because you don't know what the heck is causing it? And if there's a topic that you want me to add to the queue, the little lineup of episodes that I've got, whether it's something you're dealing with currently, something you want to go deeper on, tell me that too. The show is built for you. So help me make sure it's actually connecting with where you need it to most. And with that being said, I will see you on the next one.